Welcome to Techstination. Joining us is Emily Dalton Smith, Director of Social Impact Product at Facebook. Thank you for joining us, Emily.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Before we get into some of the issues we want to talk about today regarding what you're doing with elections, tell us a little bit about your job. Interesting title.
Yeah, it's an interesting job. I'm really fortunate that I get to work on tools that help people make the world a better place and strengthen their communities. And part of that work is our support for voting, which we're proud to do. It's work that's close to Facebook's heart. We have a long history of supporting voting and then helping people make their voices heard. And so we use one of the most powerful tools we have to do that, which is our platform, to help people get the tools and information they need to register to vote.
So you formally launched what you're calling a voting information center. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so the Voting Information Center is on Facebook and Instagram. Anybody can go to fb.com/votinginfocenter or ig.com/votinginfocenter and get information and tools for registering to vote, for finding important information about deadlines and requirements for voting in their area. You can also get information on how to vote by mail. You can get information about how to volunteer as a poll worker, and you can even get alerts from election officials in your area about local information about how to vote.
So you're working with the individual states on this, it sounds like.
We are. We're working with state election officials across the country. They've been incredible partners. It's a really challenging election season for everyone, and I think especially for our state partners, but they've done an amazing job of sharing information with us and, with their entire communities about how people can get out to vote and making sure that the information in the Voting Information Center is correct to the best of their abilities. It's been a wonderful partnership, and we're really grateful to everything that they've done for us.
So you've been looking at how COVID, the pandemic, might impact things this year. Tell us what you're doing to help.
Well, we have, when the pandemic hit earlier this year, we took a step back. We've been working on voting support for over a year for the U.S. election. And when COVID hit, we took a step back and thought about what we would need to do to help people in an election season unlike one that most of us have ever seen before or may ever see again in our lives. And one of the things we realized from our work on the Coronavirus Information Center was that people would need a one-stop shop for information, an easy way to find out about how to vote in their area, because so much about voting has changed this year. People are thinking about new and different ways to vote than they have previously. There's a lot to absorb, and so we wanted to make sure that everybody in the U.S. had an easy way to find all the information they needed to get out the vote, and that's what led us to create the Voting Information Center.
I guess it's kind of tough to walk the line here and not be accused by one side or another of favoritism. Tough one. Well,
the principle we've really held at the heart of all of this work is making sure that everybody in our community has the information and tools they need to get out to vote. And so we've sourced information from authoritative sources. Of course, the state are providing information for the Voting Information Center about deadlines and requirements in their areas. We also work with nonpartisan partners like the Bipartisan Policy Center to feature information in the Voting Information Center and at the top of people's news feeds on Facebook and Instagram. So, there's certainly a lot of people with a lot of perspectives on the election this year. And Facebook's perspective is that we think everybody should get out and vote, and we're putting the full force of our platforms behind that.
So how do you actually help people to register to vote?
Well, this week is National Voter Registration Day. And so we are showing information at the top of the Facebook, Instagram, and Messenger apps about how to register to vote or check your registration. So even if you registered earlier this year or you've lived at your address for a long time and think your registration is up to date, it's a great opportunity just to check and make sure it's accurate, because of course that's the first step to voting. It's quick and it's easy. And if you log into Facebook, Instagram, or Messenger this year, we'll have a little reminder and tools for you to do that. And then once you've checked that you're registered and shared with your friends that they should check their registration too this week, you can also start to think about, to get involved and to learn more. This week, Facebook is hosting Votathon 2020, which is a nonpartisan celebrity-filled event that encourages people to register to vote. And we're also hosting Facebook Live discussions to hear from leaders of civic organizations focused on getting out the vote. They'll share how they're reaching diverse communities, including people of color and students. And so it's a great time to check your registration and also start to get involved and learn more about how people are voting this fall on Facebook and Instagram.
It's probably not under your purview, but a lot of people wonder what role Facebook plays or might play in checking accuracy of what they see online, with things that are posted by campaigns and ads and things like that. And that's a tough issue that Facebook's been grappling with.
It is a difficult issue, and it's difficult for people, I think, across the country, on Facebook and off. There's a lot of information about the election this year, and a lot of different perspectives, and we take that really seriously, whether it's people sharing their opinions or sharing information that may or not be accurate. So we are applying labels to every single post about voting on Facebook and Instagram that gives people a link to the Voting Information Center and lets them check that information for themselves. And then, of course, we strengthen our policies around misinformation and voter suppression, and we're taking down posts that attempt to suppress voting. So, it's not easy, but it's incredibly important, and we're doing more than ever now to make sure that misinformation doesn't spread and that people have the tools and information they need to make their own decisions based on accurate, authoritative information about how they're going to vote this fall.
And you're hoping to have a real impact here, registering people to vote by the millions.
Well, we certainly are. We're hoping to help 4 million people register and turn out to vote this year. So for context, in 2016 and 2018, we helped 2 million people each year. So this is really doubling our goal. It's a big goal, but we thought this was the year to aim too high rather than too low, and we wanted to be as ambitious as possible. We've actually helped over 2.5 million people register so far this year across Facebook, Instagram, and Messenger. So we have a lot of work to do between now and the election, and we'll continue to put everything we have behind it and to show people information about how they can vote at the top of their news feeds, the top of the Messenger app, and give people the tools and information they need to vote safely and confidently this year.
Perhaps it's a little trickier, but are there also links where people can find out about the issues and positions candidates have taken, whether it's national or more local?
Well, we don't have that information right now. We really are making sure that the Voting Information Center is a place where you can go to find out information about how to vote rather than about candidates' positions. But, as you know, Facebook and Instagram are great tools, and elected officials across the country are using them to share where they stand on issues, and we encourage everybody to go to their candidate pages or profiles to learn more.
Terrific. And once again, the place to go for more information, it's pretty obvious here.
It's fb.com/votinginfocenter or on Instagram, ig.com/votinginfocenter.
Oh, we appreciate what you're doing. Emily Dalton Smith, thanks for taking the time with us.
Thank you.
Now this. It takes a lot of listening to build a better radio, and that's just what the folks at C. Crane have done. Bob Crane and his crew, nestled among the rivers and tallest trees in the world in Fortuna, California, have made a habit of listening to their customers. And that's just what they've done in building the CC Skywave SSB, the Swiss Army knife of portable radios. For everyday listening to AM or FM in the yard or patio or on the nightstand without having to drain a mobile phone battery, it's a great companion. But it is also a companion equipped for NOAA weather information and alerts that can be life-saving. You can listen to FEMA and Coast Guard transmissions too. Beyond all of that, you can tune into shortwave signals from around the world. It's compact, easy to take with you, and built to last. The CC Skywave SSB. Click on the link at Techstination.com.